Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing tonight? I am doing wonderful tonight. I am so excited about tonight's Sip and Say with Stephanie. I'm so excited that you've chosen to join me. I feel like I've been out of contact with you all for the last few weeks, which I have been because I have not been able to do my Bible study on Thursday nights. So I was tired. Like the first Thursday in this month, I was tired. So I decided to just rest. I decided I'm just going to rest. I'm going to just take care of me, have like a mental health evening for myself. And then the Thursday after that, I was actually in a week-long Bible study through a Christian education teaching that they do at a church back home, and they do monthly or either bi-monthly teachings through a Christian education program. So I took that training last Thursday. And so I am finally back with you all tonight, and I'm so excited because I have a few things that I want to say to you. So I'm going to just add a little welcome to the chat. And so if you're on tonight with me, you can chat with me on tonight. I'm going to get my drink ready. My drink is not ready yet. I'm going to share with you what I'm going to be sipping on tonight. I'm really excited because I'm opening the package for the first time tonight with you so that you can see exactly what it is. And so you can experience this with me as I do my sips on tonight. So welcome again to Sip and Say with Stephanie. I'm going to be talking about the relief bill, and I want to talk a little bit about the shootings that happened in the Atlanta area. And so I'm going to focus on that tonight. I don't know if I'll say anything else, but I do have a few notes that I want to share tonight with that. Okay, but before we do, I'm going to be moving back and forth because I had some technical difficulty again tonight. I'm not able to use the device that I would like to use. So I'm going to be going like back and forth. And so, because I have my notes on one device and then I have my video going on the other. I'm telling you, y'all pray that I get my technology game right. So I can do this technology right, so I can actually look at you as I'm talking to you and communicating with you. Okay, so let me show you what I'm going to be sipping on tonight. So there is a young lady in the Kalamazoo, Michigan area, and she has a company called Layla's Cool Pops. So this is her, the package that I received from her. So in this package are cocoa bombs. BOMBS, cocoa bombs. I have never in my life heard of a cocoa bomb before, but I was perusing her site. I was ordering some pretzel rods from her and some cookie pops from her. And as I was ordering these items, I saw the cocoa bombs and I was just like, what are these? They are actually a hot chocolate bombs, bombs and bombs, right? But they're actually hot chocolate bombs, BOMBS. And they, I'm going to open them up for you. There were actually 4 of them in here. I haven't used any of them, but I did give one of them away. And so let me tell you the flavors of her cocoa bombs. And I'm going to put her link in the chat because I want you all to order from Layla if you can. So we have the salted caramel. We have this is a chocolate. And then we have the French vanilla. So this is my first time tonight, you all. I'm going to drop these cocoa bombs in my cup. I'm going to pour my hot water in, which is sitting right here beside me. And I really wish I could tip my cup over so that you can see how this thing works. But you may know better than I do because, like I said, this is my very first time having me a cocoa bomb. So what it is on the inside of the cocoa bombs are dehydrated marshmallows are inside of this chocolate ball. And so I'm so excited. I don't even know which one I want to. I think I'm going to try the French vanilla because it's one of my favorite flavors in my cappuccinos. And so I'm gonna go ahead and open my Layla Cool Pops Cocoa Bomb so that I can get the sip in, so I can say a few things that I want to say tonight. So I got my H cup, my Humphrey cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in. I'm gonna move my other cocoa bombs out of the way so I can have a little bit more room here. And then here is I heated up my water just a little bit. So I'm gonna leave it plugged in while I pour it in. So I want it to boil just a little bit. There we go. All right, so here we go, y'all. I'm gonna have to unplug my hot pot. This is my hot pot. You know what? I was talking to a friend of mine about a month ago, y'all. Maybe a few months ago, possibly. It could have been like maybe December or November. But I was talking about a hot pot. She was like, "What is a hot pot?" I'm like, "Girl, you don't know what a hot pot is? Let me hear you to the hot pot." When I was in college, I had a hot pot, and this is why I put my Roman noodles in. It wasn't this particular one. It was actually an all white one, and I used that thing up. I probably had to throw it away. But I had, I used to use so I'm pouring this in. I used to use a hot pot for my Roman noodles in college. I know on a college student budget now, it was kind of rough. So I used my hot pot. So I had to explain to her what a hot pot was, and I took her. Well, I don't shop on Amazon much anymore, but at that time I took her to Amazon just so she could see what one looked like. So I got my cocoa bomb in here, and it's not dissolving quite yet. I should have brought a spoon over. I wish I could tilt this like without spilling it and show it to you. But right now my cocoa smells so good, y'all. Oh my gosh, I wish I had smell-o-vision or something, because this smells so good. So it's the French vanilla. I'm not gonna sip it because I want it to melt, but I'm gonna be sipping on that tonight. So again, this is Layla Cool Pops. I'm gonna put her information in the chat so that you all can support her. She is a young African-American lady. I think she's a young adult now. I think she started when she was a teenager, but she is a young adult now. So I'm going to go to her main website because I went on her good. So Layla's Cool Pops. And I still have one of the pops here, and I meant to bring it over to y'all. I ate her pretzel rods and those cool, her cookie pops is what they're called, cookie pops. And the pretzel rods, I ate them bad boys up. They were so good. So I encourage you to visit her website. She gives to the homeless community, you all. Miss Layla does. And so, so I encourage you to visit her site and support her. Oh gosh, I should get a camera, and oh my gosh, it's dissolving, y'all. Oh my God. She put a colored, different colored, like the Lucky Charms marshmallows. That's what it looks like. So it was a Lucky Charms marshmallows they burst within my cup. I gotta go get a spoon, y'all. I should have bought a spoon over, right? And when I go get my spoon, I'm gonna get my cookie pops. I can show that to you as well. So sorry that I didn't have that ready. But I'm going to get that ready for you right now so that you can see. All right, so get my spoon so that I can start. I'm going to move my paper because I actually made a couple of notes of things that I want to talk about tonight. And so I want to move my paper. I don't want it to get wet. Oh my, I'm so excited, y'all. So look, oh gosh, it smells so good, y'all. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells so good. So I'm gonna stir. I'm kind of warm right now, so drinking some hot chocolate might be a little bit too much, but I wanted to drink this for the first time tonight so that you all could see my real reaction to Layla's Cool Pops French Vanilla Cocoa Bomb. I think it's gonna be good, but oh my gosh, it smells so good. I know this is like the third or fourth time I said that, but it really smells good. Hot chocolate normally smells good anyway, but this smells super, super duper good to me. And so I'm so excited to take a sip. I'm a little warm right now because I've been running around my house. So I'm gonna let it sit here. I have one more marshmallow that's still trying to dissolve, and here's a green marshmallow that's still trying to dissolve. I didn't have the water boiling, so it's taking a little bit of time for that. Oh gosh, this looks good and it smells so good. Okay, so let me get into some conversations on tonight. So I'm pretty sure all of us have heard about the shootings that happened in Atlanta. And I just wanted to say just a little bit about that and just share how I'm feeling about it. Like it's never a happy time, of course, when someone's killed. Like I feel like I feel kind of numb about it. I feel like shootings have been happening so frequently in America in particular that it just seems like here we go again, or like, okay, oh well. But because this particular man targeted these three spa shops in the Atlanta area and he killed 6 of the 8 people killed were Asian women. And as you know, has been an uptick in violence against Asian people. If you didn't know, like Google it or go to YouTube. I watched, I think either 1 or 2 videos of violence against Asian Americans. I want to say I don't even know where this came from, but I do know where it came from because over the last 4 years, we have heard a lot of rhetoric that spewed violence, a lot of rhetoric about violence and hate against African Americans, against brown and black people, including Asian people, including indigenous people, anybody that's not white. Let's just say it how it is. Anybody that's not white. There's been a lot of conversations, a lot of rhetoric, a lot of talk about violence and hate against groups of color. And so it's still so disheartening because you all, on one of the videos, it's an older Asian man that this gentleman, it looked like it was a man, I couldn't see his face, but just the build of the person. This Asian man, older Asian man, was walking down the street, and this, what appeared to be a younger person, I couldn't tell, who it was, of course, came and just pushed this Asian man on the sidewalk, y'all. Like the first thing I thought about was my granddaddy. Like if somebody did that to my granddaddy, it's gonna be a Medea up in here, ride or die, fool, ride or die. And so I just thought about the potential of that happening to my grandfather. Now he's an African American man, but still a person of color. So when I saw that, I mean, that person just came, pushed that older Asian gentleman down. I don't understand. Well, I want to say I don't understand violence against people, and I do not understand why people hate. I do not understand why there is a violence against people of color, against indigenous people, against black and brown people. I do not understand hate. I do not. I did not grow up in a household where hate was talked about, where hate was spewed. I grew up in a house where we talked about love, where we talked about respect, where we talked about God, where we talked about, humanity. Like that's the type of environment that I grew up in. So I don't even understand why anyone gets out of hating another person or hating a group of people or even committing acts of violence against people. Like I don't even understand. I don't even understand any kind of abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, verbal abuse, domestic violence, all those things. I do not understand those things. Like I don't even understand what could cause a person within their mind and within their heart to hate somebody, to just have this vile, venomous thoughts and actions against people. Like I just don't understand that. But we know that there are people like that in our world. We can go back as far as slavery, all of the violence against enslaved people, the hangings, the beatings, cutting off body parts, violence against a certain group of people. I don't get it, y'all. I don't. If y'all can explain it to me, somebody explain it to me in infant terms so that I could understand the purpose of hate. But we understand that we do have an enemy. We have the devil. He's out to seek, to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what he's seeking to do, to steal, kill, and destroy. And he would do that in any way he can, using anybody who's open to him to do it. So I just encourage us to pray for our Asian brothers and sisters, to pray for our African American brothers and sisters, to pray for our Indigenous and Native American brothers and sisters, and even to pray for our white brothers and sisters. There is nobody on the face of this earth that is beyond the need for prayer. I'm gonna say that again. There's nobody on the face of this earth that is beyond the need of prayer. We all are standing, as John P. Key said, I'm standing in the need of prayer. We all stand in the need of prayer. So we should definitely pray, one for another. But I want to share just a little bit of information that I wrote about this young man. Again, I'm working from my second device. Um, and I just want to, so I'll be, facing over here because this is where my notes are. So the name of the gentleman is Aaron Long. And again, he killed 8 people at 3 separate spas in the Atlanta area. 6 of the people killed were Asian women. He claimed, well, let me read what it says because I want to get the facts straight. So this is what the police said of the suspect. He told authorities that his actions were not racially motivated, and he frequented some of the spas where the shootings happened. A person kills 6 Asian. A person goes to a place, and in this case, 3 places where Asian people are known to work, and you tell me that your actions against them are not racially motivated, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. But that's what he told the police, that his actions were not racially motivated, and he frequented the spas where the shootings happened. A Cherokee County Sheriff's Office spokesman, who is Captain Jay Baker, he said that Long viewed the spas, which are listed on a prominent illicit massage parlor matching site, as a temptation. I'm doing my air quotes because it's quoted. Long said that those spas are a temptation that he wanted to eliminate. I'm gonna let that settle in. He said he targeted these places because he said they were a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate. Now, think about that. Think about all of your temptations. Think about that man who tempts you. Think about that store that tempts you to go want to spend your stimulus check. Think about that whatever, that food, that restaurant, that McDonald's, that Burger King, that what's my salt box, that tempts you. Now, y'all, come on now. That may have been the reason or one of the reasons why he targeted this place, but I don't believe that it was the only reason. I do not believe that it was a mistake that he specifically went to a place where Asian people are, where Asian people were, and started shooting. That's not a coincidence. I mean, it had more to do, if it had to do something, if it has something to do with his sexual drive, that could have been correct, but it has something to do. I believe it was racially motivated. I do. This Stephanie sip and say, and I'm gonna say what I want to say. I believe that his actions were racially motivated. I really do. And so we definitely want to pray for the families of these Asian women. A few of the names were released, but I did not want to say them out because I did not know how to pronounce them. But I do want to give honor and respect to their families. And I ask that we pray for their families, that they may have been married, had children. So we want to pray for them, their families, pray God's comfort and peace upon them as they navigate this unthinkable time, in their lives. So let's pray for them. And let's pray for them. But let me get back on this. Let me jump back on the reason why Aaron Long said he did this. Now, the police quoted him. So it ticked me off, y'all. I'm just going to say it how I feel it. It ticked me off that police officers actually said what he said. Like, they actually used his words and made a public statement about them. They used a murderer's words and made a public statement about them. That made me mad, y'all. That really made me mad. There was another report, and what I just read to you about Aaron Long was found on USA Today, and I'm going to add that link in once I finish the video. But in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, I'm going to add that link in as well. They made a statement. Hold on just a second. Let me find exactly what they said. No, that's not it. Actually, let me go back to USA Today. It was actually USA Today. Atlanta Police Chief Rodney Bryant said it was too soon in the investigation to say whether the shootings were a hate crime. We are, quote, we are just not there as of yet, Bryant said during a Wednesday morning news conference. I'm gonna let that sink in. The police chief, the Atlanta police chief said it's too soon to determine if this is a hate crime. Y'all better pray for our country. Y'all better pray for these police chiefs and these people out here that are making decisions on behalf of our communities and our states and our governments. But we better pray. It's a hate, in my opinion, in my thought, in my mind, what I've read about, and I did read a couple of articles about it. It was a hate crime and it was racially motivated. It just is what it is. And I'm hoping that this gentleman is convicted. Like, I hope that he goes to trial, and I hope that he is convicted. And I'm just gonna leave that right there. I'm done with it from there. I'm just gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave that part right there, but I'm gonna keep talking about it. Because let me take a sip, because I do want to say one more thing about it that caused some triggers. It was some triggers for me. I'm gonna put my spoon. I think I'm gonna stick my spoon right there in my water because I don't have a thing. So I'm gonna take a sip of my hot cocoa bomb. It's okay. It's not as chocolatey as I thought it was gonna be, because y'all saw it. It's like a big cocoa bomb. So it's not as chocolatey as I thought it was gonna be, but it still tastes pretty good. It's nice and warm, so I appreciate that. And before I start back about Aaron Long, let me show you. This is also Layla's cocoa. This is not a cocoa. This is Layla's cookie pop. I wanted to kind of show it to you close. So this is one of the cookie pops that I ate. I think I had 6 cocoa. I keep saying cocoa. Cookie pops. I had 6 of these. This is the only one that I have left. I gave one away, so I ate 4 of them in like 2 days. Like, they're really, really good. And then the pretzel rods are delicious. The other ones were actually for St. Patrick's Day. They were in white icing with green sprinkles, and one had like white icing with stripes on them. So anyway, if you get a chance again to support Layla's Cool Pops, do that, because she does have a nonprofit organization and she does give to the homeless in her community. And so we really just want to support her. I'm answering a chat, one of the chats here. Oh, my mom said she actually smells it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like I said, it's not as chocolatey, but it's all right. It's all right. Oh, it gets better as I drink it. Okay, maybe I needed to get to the middle. I don't know. But there's something else, you all, that I want to say about this case with Aaron Long. And I was reading the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer so I can kind of keep my eye on you too. So this is what an Atlanta, who said this? Let me make sure I'm quoting the person correctly. Well, it doesn't say in particular who made this statement, but I'm going to read it to you. It said, in a statement released Wednesday night, Atlanta police called the shootings 2 despicable acts of violence and said their investigation into the slayings is far from over. It is hard to comprehend what could lead someone to commit a heinous crime and how someone could show such disregard for life, the statement read. These deaths impacted all of our first responders as well as our communities, but more importantly, they impacted the victims' families and friends in a way most of us can only imagine. It goes on to say our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, families, and friends who had their loved ones taken from them in such a senseless and untimely manner. This statement that was put out by the Atlanta police, it was a trigger for me. You know what it made me think about? It made me think about all of the Black men and women who have been killed by police over the last year, over the last 3 years, over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years, over the last centuries. That's what it did. For the Atlanta Police Department to put out a statement to say, it is hard to comprehend what could lead someone to commit such a heinous crime and how someone could show such disregard for life. Well, it made me think about all of the police officers that have showed a disregard for the life of Black and brown people. It did. And because it triggered that for me, I went looking for some names. Of course, I remember a lot of the names like Sandra Bland and Alton Sterling and Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown. So I remember some of the names, but I just wanted to go through and find like as comprehensive of a list as I could about Black and brown people who have been killed. And I found one that was really close. The Washington Post had put out let me see make sure I get it to give you the right name for it. And I'm also going to add the link to the chat so that you can look at it. But it's over 5,000 names of individuals who have been killed by the police. I can't remember the time frame in the last year, actually. It's in the last year. And actually, this list includes both white and Black and brown people. So of the over 5,000 people that are listed in the Washington Post in their database, I don't know how many of them are Black men or Black women, because again, they list, all. But just to know, it was actually 908. I got it wrong. I got it so wrong. Sorry about that, y'all. 988 people have been shot and killed by the police in the past year. And this was updated today. But the 5,000 number that I was talking about, let me go down to that chart. Because it is a 5,000 number. Let me just go to it. Okay. Oh, actually the number is higher. Whew. They have, Washington Post did a independent study, and if you go to their website, it tells you exactly how they collected all of this data, but it's actually 6,139 people who have been shot and killed by the police, and it actually takes you through a list of their names. For example, the first name that is listed up here is Christopher Ruffin. He was a 28-year-old Black man. He was armed with a gun. He was shot on March 14th of this year, 2021, in Palm Bay, Florida. It also indicates if there were any, known mental illnesses. In this case, it says no or unknown mental illness. It does say no, that there was not a body camera recording, and it does say that he was fleeing by foot. So it gives you the name, it gives you a little bit of information about the person, and it gives you a little bit of information about, or a little bit of information that they have collected in order to make this report. So again, 6,139 names are on this Washington Post report. And I'm going to put the link in so that you can go through and read it for yourself. But I'm just thinking again about when I read that statement by the police, saying that they can't understand how somebody can do this. And I'm like, police officers are killing Black and brown people all the doggone time. How is it that you can't imagine this happening? It's happening all over every day. Even Black and brown people that have died that we don't know about, the names that we don't hear, the names that we don't know about that are happening in communities in other states and other cities that we don't know about. So the killing of Black and brown people has been an ongoing violence. It's been an ongoing act of violence against our culture, and it's disheartening when it happens. It just is. And I'm not sharing about Black and brown people to take away with what happened with these Asian women, because I consider them people of color. Everybody who is non-white, I consider them a person of color. I consider them a BIPOC. BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. It's all of us that are not white, because every single group that is not white has experienced violence against individuals in America. Asian people have experienced violence, Black people have experienced violence, Indigenous and Native Americans have experienced violence, our Latino brothers and sisters have experienced violence here in America. So it's all of us that are non-white. Yes, and I'm just going to throw out some more names because I just want to. Because as you're talking about, yeah, I just want to throw out some names. We know George Floyd, we got him. Elijah McClain was killed in 2019 in Colorado. Philando Castile, I've mentioned his name, was killed in 2016 during the summer. I remember when Philando Castile, y'all, he was killed in July 2016, and Alton Sterling was also killed in July 2016. They were killed within a few days of each other. I remember that summer so clearly because it was my first year teaching a set of high school students through the nonprofit organization called Student U. When these shootings happened, I want to say they may have happened within the same day. Was it the same day? They happened within a short time of each other. And I remember my students walked into my first period classroom, and I knew, you all, that I could not teach. I knew that this would not be a day for me to teach because those young people, they needed to talk. So I set aside my lesson plans. We sat in a circle. We had a talking piece, and we passed the talking piece around, and I let them say whatever they wanted to say. I do not curse, but I told them, if you want to curse, if you want to scream, if you want to shout, whatever you need to say or whatever you need to do to express yourself, I gave them the freedom to do that in that moment. And we talked, and some of them cried. Like the weight of what happened that summer, we felt it on campus. Through Student U during their summer program, we actually teach middle school and high school students. We're all on the campus together. I just was a high school teacher. And I remember we had an assembly, like we brought all the kids together because once the teacher started talking about how our students were feeling after Philando Castile and Alton Sterling passed away, we had to have an assembly. We got together, we had an assembly with the middle school and high schoolers. We packed, us in that, it's a large gym that we use. So we were packed in there and we just had conversations about it. We had circles, we spread across the campus. We sat at picnic tables in the grass, and we just had a powwow. And it was hard, y'all. I could feel the sorrow and the sadness amongst our students during that particular summer. When I heard them talk and express themselves, it was disheartening. Like, it was hurtful to me that they were experiencing that kind of pain. And for some of them, that kind of trauma, having seen these images on this TV screen. And so again, we sat, we talked, we gave our students space to express themselves. But you know what, y'all? We didn't stop there. We let them vent, we let them express themselves. And after that, before that, it was either before that week was over or the very next week, we actually, as a part of our lesson across the campus, the middle school students and the high school students, we wrote letters to our legislators about how we in Durham County can stop gun violence and stop some of the gun violence or all of the gun violence, but stop the violence against our Black and brown young people. They wrote letters. We took time during class, wrote letters. One of the teachers, he taught history on the campus. He collected the letters, we enveloped them up, and we sent them to our governor so that he would know that there are some young people in Durham, North Carolina, that have these concerns on our mind, and we have some solutions. Because not only did the students express how they were feeling, but they did offer solutions to stop the violence against our brown and Black people. I actually did not follow up to see if our governor wrote us back or if any of the legislators even wrote us back, because some of the letters did go to some legislators. I don't know how they were, how the letters were split up, but we did let our government know that we have this concern for our young people. And if you didn't think about it, Student U, the students that are at Student U are mostly Black and brown students. We mostly have African-American students, Latino students, and we do have white families that are a part of Student U. But that was a hard summer, y'all. Like, it was my first time having conversations with young people about about death and then about the death of Black people. Like, it was bad. And some of our Latino students actually brought up some Latino young people that had died as well through police shootings. And so that actually made me aware, because I did not know, I was totally unaware that there were Latina, men and women that were dying through police brutality. I guess it's something that I didn't think about it, because I don't see it on TV as often as I see Black people being murdered by the police, and so, and even though Trayvon Martin, it was not a police officer who killed Trayvon Martin, just the fact that he killed Trayvon Martin and he did not serve time. He went to trial, but he didn't serve time for it. So it was just my first experience with young people expressing themselves in that way. So in saying that, you all, I want us to be mindful about our children. Be mindful about your 5-year-old, your 3-year-old, your 10-year-old, your 13-year-old, your 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17, your 18-year-old. Be careful about your children and how they are experiencing these feelings and navigating through those feelings. Make sure that you stay in constant communication with your children, just all the time. Anyway, we should stay in constant communication with our children, but especially when there is violence on the TV, like the act against these 6 Asian women and the 2 other individuals that passed away. Make sure that you're having conversations with your children about this. Don't let them go through that by themselves. Don't let them go through that alone. Don't let them go in their room, shut the door, lock the door, and just steal away. Have some conversations with them. Ask them, how are you feeling about this? How can I help you work through these feelings? Like, let them know that you are there for them, that you support them, that you're open to have conversations with them, so that they won't carry that grief and that harm and that hurt with them. Okay. So make sure that you're, communicating, excuse me, y'all. Make sure that you are communicating with your children about the violence that they see in the media. They may not be watching it with you, but if your child has a technology device, I'm pretty sure they've seen it. They have a cell phone, a tablet, a computer. I'm pretty sure they've seen the videos and they've seen the images. So make sure that you're talking to your children about it. So Michael Brown passed away. I didn't get his year for Michael Brown, but he was shot in Ferguson by Darren Wilson. Terrence Crutcher was shot in 2016 in Tulsa. Eric Garner in 2014 in New York City. Oscar Grant, 2009. Freddie Gray suffered major spinal injuries while being transported in a Baltimore police van in 2015, y'all, and he passed away from his injuries. I just, there were 6 officers that were charged in his death and his arrest, but guess what, y'all? They were all acquitted. It made me think about Rodney King. Rodney King happened in, I think, 2009. Let me look it up really quick. I think the Rodney King beating happened in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. But that's what it made me think of. It made me think of, it was 1991. Oh, it was 91. Woo, shoot. I don't know why I said 2009. I know it wasn't that recent, but it was in 1991 when Rodney King was beat by police officers and they were acquitted. That's what it made me think of when I was just like looking up Freddie Gray, what happened with Freddie Gray. Tatiana Jefferson, Betty Jones, Laquan McDonald, Tamir Rice, Dominique White, so many names. And the one I'm going to say last is Botham Jean. Excuse me if I'm saying his name wrong, but he was killed, y'all, while sitting in his own apartment, eating a bowl of ice cream. Every time I think about that, it just, sitting in his house, eating a bowl of ice cream, and he was killed. So the violence against Black and brown people is real, y'all. It is real. And now we have the videos, now we have the pictures. I mean, we did have the pictures during the Civil Rights Movement. Pictures were taken while Black men and Black women were being lynched. But we actually have several minutes of videos, body cam images. And even with all of that, y'all, police are still acquitted from these murders. Let's just call it what it is. Our Black people are being murdered in the street. These Asian women were at work. I don't know if they were at work, so I didn't read the full story. If the 6 Asian women, I don't know if they were workers or if they were there as a customer. I'm not quite sure, but they were in this place where they thought was safe, and they died. Like, they were killed, y'all. It's just, gun violence in America is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what it's going to take for us to have our gun laws change. I really don't know what it's going to take. Because I know that there have been bills that have been introduced to make some modifications with our gun laws, but nothing has come to pass with that. I know the National Rifle Association, they have been adamant about gun laws not being modified or not being tightened up. I was recently told that the NRA has dismantled. I didn't look that up, so I don't know if it's true. So look it up for yourself about the NRA, but gun violence in America is ridiculous, and our laws do need to be modified. They need to be changed. So let's get on it, y'all. Let's write our legislators and let them know how we feel about gun violence in America. I also think it's too easy for a person to buy a gun. Like, I need to check my registration. I was actually registered as a licensed gun owner, but I think my registration may have lapsed, so I'll probably need to go back and get it done. And it was really simple, just to register with my county. It was $5. I registered with the county. I never did take it any further, but the registration part was easy. And of course, you would have to register to get a gun. That's a separate registration process, fee, and all of that. And I don't even know what those guidelines are, but I still think that some of our gun laws in America need to be changed. They need to be modified. So let's write our legislators and let them know that we need some changes happening, right? So that this gun violence can eventually decrease and then stop. And I think that's all I want to say about that. What are y'all sipping tonight? Y'all write it in the chat. What y'all sipping on? I'm sipping on my French vanilla cocoa bomb for those who are just joining in. So I want to say, this is what I wanted to say. I am not done. This is what I wanted to say, y'all, about the Botham Jean. That's why I saved him for last. The young lady who murdered him, her name is, I wrote her name down. What did I write her name? Oh, Amber Geiger. She is a police officer who killed Botham Jean. Her lawyers have appealed her conviction, y'all. And let me read what they said. In the appeal, her lawyers said that, quote, her mistaken identity belief negated the culpability for murder because although she intentionally and knowingly caused Jean's death, she had the right to act in deadly force in self-defense since her belief that deadly force was immediately necessary was reasonable under the circumstances. So since her belief that deadly force was immediately necessary was reasonable under the circumstances. So in other words, because she felt like deadly force was needed at that time, and that it was reasonable under the circumstances, because of that fact, through her lawyers, they are appealing her case. I laugh because that sounds crazy. I'm not a lawyer by any means. I don't know lawyer language or lingo, but I'm a citizen. But even as an educated professional citizen, and I say professional because I'm a licensed educator, so I'm a professional in my career. I consider myself educated and intelligent. This sounds crazy even to me, y'all. This sounds crazy even to me, that she had the right to act in deadly force in self-defense since her belief that deadly force was immediately necessary was reasonable under the circumstances. I'm sitting in my house in front of my TV eating a bowl of ice cream, and deadly force is needed against me. That don't even sound, that just sounds stupid, y'all. I'm just gonna say how I feel it. That sounds crazy. But that's what her lawyers have said. They have appealed. And so the article, which was from CNN, it didn't state when the appeal process is going to happen. So I will have to keep you updated about that. But yes, child, she was convicted and is currently serving a 10-year sentence for murder, y'all. She's serving a 10-year sentence. I promise you I'm done with all of that now. I promise you I'm done. I am done talking about that for now, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm done. Lord have mercy. I'm going to get off of that because I could go on all day with that. So the final thing that I'm going to talk about tonight is the American Rescue Plan of 2021. Y'all, I've got the House bill pulled up right here in front of me. And it's long, y'all. It is long. It is long. It is long. It is long. But it hits a lot of areas that will help the American people as we are recovering from COVID-19. So I just want to highlight it. I wrote a few things down that I want to highlight within this bill. So again, the bill is really long, but it does have a table of contents where individual links are present so that you can look up whichever section you want to look up without having to read the whole bill. And I am going to put that link in the chat because, you know, it's one thing to hear the news report about the American Rescue Act. It's one thing to have, you know, the media tell you what it is, have the news tell you what it is. It's a whole other thing to read it for yourself. And I'm a person, like I'm sitting in church listening to the pastor, and I believe what the pastor said, but I'm gonna go back and check them scriptures out for myself because I just want to be able to see for myself. And so even though I have heard the news talk about it, I've heard individuals talk about the rescue plan, I wanted to read it for myself, so I looked it up. And it's a lot, y'all. Like it is a lot, like it's a lot. And so it's H.R. 1319. And again, it has provisions for so many areas that's going to help a lot of the American people. So I do thank our House and our Senate for proposing this bill. Representative Yarmuth, Yarmuth, his name is John Yarmuth from Kentucky. He is the originator of this particular bill. And I want to say thank you to our House and to our Senate for passing this bill. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm in North Carolina. I'm going to tell y'all how the people in North Carolina, how the representatives of North Carolina voted. And I'm going to put the link so that you can see it for yourself, so that you can see how your House of Representatives and how your senators voted on this particular bill. All right, I'm going to put that link in. So my nose is kind of itchy. My mama must be talking about me, y'all. My nose itching. She's going to make a comment about that in a minute. All right, so I'm going to highlight just a few things. And some of this you all may want to go look up for yourself because it does have provision for families. It does have provision for Medicaid. It has provision for Medicare. So you might really want to tap into this bill to see if you can access some of the money that our government has released to us, okay? And again, I'm going to put that link in the description once the video is over. So the Secretary of Health and Human Services has received $47.8 trillion for this fiscal year. And that money was released to detect, diagnose, trace, and monitor SARS, CoV-2, and COVID-19 infections. So this money is provided to help with COVID testing, to help with contact tracing, and to help with mitigation activities. So I'm glad that that money is in place because it's going to help our CDC and our infectious, the Center for Infectious and Disease Control. Oh my gosh, I should have wrote it down. Let me make sure I have it right. The Center for Infectious Disease, thank you. The Center for Infectious Disease, it will help those organizations so that we can hopefully, if we do get another pandemic like this, that we can combat it a little quicker than we did this time. So that money has been set aside to the Secretary of Health and Human Services for that purpose. The elementary and y'all know I had to do the education one. The Elementary and Secondary Education Act has received $122.7 $74,800,000 that will remain available until September 30th, 2023 to help with the ESEA. I don't know all of the provisions with the ESEA, but those provisions are outlined because I did not write all of them down, but they are outlined in H.R. 1319. There is a child care development block program. If you own a child care center, you may want to look at this H.R. 1319 so that you can tap into some of that money if you qualify. But there is 14,999,000,000. Oh, I wrote that number wrong. Let me look it up. So I think I got too many zeros. I got too many zeros for this one. So I don't have the right amount of money written down, but it's a child care development block program. And that money is available to qualified child care centers. And there is $1 trillion that will go specifically to Head Start. So if you are a Head Start program or if you are a qualified child care program, make sure that you look at H.R. 1319 to see if you can tap into some of that money. There's also $250 million that has been dedicated to child abuse prevention and treatment. Child abuse prevention and treatment is near and dear to my heart. I'm launching a ministry next month that centers around supporting young ladies as it relates to abuse. I'm not going to get into it right now, but when I saw that, it really made my heart happy to know that that money is going to go towards child abuse prevention and treatment. There is money for small businesses. I did not write the amount for small business, but if you are a small business, there are credits for your small business for self-employed small businesses, credits for paid sick and for family leave. So make sure you check it out because those sections may apply to you as a self-employed small business. You may be able to get some economic relief for your business. So make sure that you check it out, okay? And the part of H.R. 1319 that I really want us to get into, I'm going to actually scroll down because I want to read the language to you. I wrote it down, but I still want to read the language to you. So it's actually subtitle G, and I'm going to go to subtitle G. Nope, that's not right. No, I wrote the subtitle wrong. Let me get to it. It is actually it is G. I think it's in a different section. Oh, guys, like I said, this thing is long, y'all, so let me get to it. Woo, woo, woo. There's some information about the child tax credit, earned income tax credit, dependent care assistance, y'all. So like I said, tap in, y'all. Tap into this money. Oh my goodness, y'all. Let me go slow. Let me slowly scroll through because there's the thunder, y'all. We're supposed to have storms in my area, and I hear the thunder rolling now. So I'm going to read this to you and probably wrap up to make sure that I stay safe. Oh, Lauren, please help me find this quickly. There's a small business modifications. Oh, there's modifications to the Paycheck Protection Program. I forgot about that. Oh my goodness. Let me take a sip while I'm scrolling. I'm actually trying to get to where we got our $1,400 from, but I really want to read it to you. I wrote the notes down, but I really want to read it to make sure that I wrote it down right, and I can't find it. And I know it's here because I read it earlier. All right, I'm going to scroll through one more time. So I'm going to talk it through while I'm scrolling, and then I can read you the provisions. But as you know, with the American Rescue Plan of 2021, H.R. 1319, provisions were made in this act to give up to $1,400 to the American people. I hope that you've received your $1,400. If you haven't, I'm sure it's going to come. Um, there's also provisions for mental health, y'all, which I'm really glad that they added some provisions for that. There's also a section for Native Americans down at the bottom of the Act. So there are several provisions that are made for Native American and Indigenous people. So I wanted to throw that out there as well so that we know that this bill actually covers a lot, y'all. It covers a lot of areas. So I really do encourage you to go through and read it because it's good. Okay, I can't find it. So I'm gonna just read what I wrote because I know what I wrote down is accurate. I just wanted to read it directly. So if you have dependents, so you get your $1,400 as an individual. If you have dependents, that $1,400 is multiplied per dependent of the taxpayer for such taxable year. And the language actually reads for such taxable year, okay? And I wanted to write the language down because I don't want to take away or add anything that's in that bill. I wanted to read it exactly how it is. And so if you have dependents, then you get your $1,400 as an individual, and then you get $1,400 per dependent. Now, I did not write down the specifications of the dependent outside of it saying 1,400 multiplied by the number of dependents of the taxpayer for such taxable year. It did not, or I didn't write down the guidelines for that. So I don't know if it's your dependents that live with you, if it includes your college dependents, that part I didn't read, y'all. So go back and read it for yourself so that you can see with your own eyes the language that is available in this act. And so you'll know what you should receive for your family to support you during this time. And maybe I'm not supposed to find, maybe because maybe the Lord wants you to do it yourself. But I am going to put the link for the act in my description so that you can go back and read it for yourself. And again, it's broken down. It's very easy to read, y'all. It's a lot of information. It's very easy to read. They break each, because they have subtitles like I, J, K under each title, like Title 1. Then you have your ABC. They have it broken down by section. It is very easy to navigate. All you have to do is find the subheading that you want, click onto it, and it'll take you right to that information. And there's also a link to the side where you can share the link or share the information with your family and friends. So if you know someone who can benefit from the small business portion or the earned income credit or the Medicaid or Medicare or whatever other provisions are in this bill, send it to them so that they can read it and know it for themselves, because the money is available, y'all. So we should tap in and we should share this information so our family and friends can tap in. Okay, so make sure that you read it. I think that's all that I want to, oh no, that's not all I want to say. Okay, this is what I want to say about your money. I was very fortunate and blessed to still be able to work through the pandemic. Again, I'm an educator, so I was still able to teach my students and do my job even through the pandemic. And so thankfully, I was still able to, pay my bills and just take care of myself, buy food and everything during this time. But for some of us, we did not have that luxury. Some of us lost our jobs. And so the 1,200 that we initially received, the 600, and now the 1,400 has been truly a blessing to help us pay the bills, help us to get food on the table, help us to get whatever supplies our family needs, whatever supplies our children need. So we do thank our government for passing this act to get to families what they need. If you are an individual like me who was still able to work during the pandemic, be mindful with how you spend your money. Okay, invest it if you can, save it, put it in your rainy day fund, use it as a down payment towards your house, use it to pay your mortgage down, use it to give to other organizations or maybe someone in your community that you want to bless. You might want to give them $100 or $500 or your whole, stimulus money, whatever you feel the Lord is leading you to do as far as giving, give to your church, give to a nonprofit organization. There are so many ways that you can use the money if you want to give it to somebody, choose, who you want to give it to. But if you decide to keep all of it, just use it wisely. I just want to encourage us to use it wisely. Like I'm going to be putting mine aside because I want to do some house repair. So that's where my money is going to go towards. And so just just use it wisely. Don't go out on the shopping spree. Don't go buy you something, go out and do a shoe spree. Just use it. It's money that's been freely given to you. So I just want to encourage us to use it wisely. Amen. Amen. Okay, my hot chocolate getting cold, so I'm gonna take another sip. I'm gonna do my H in the front so y'all can see it. It's good. It's getting cool. Like I said, it's not as chocolatey as I wanted it to be, but it's all right. So the last thing that I want to say is, well, before I say that, I wanted to share, because I'm going to start highlighting Black businesses as you see me do. I highlighted my cousin Mika with her t-shirt designs. I highlighted Miss Layla, but I also wanted to highlight a young lady. She sells earrings. This is my Black Lives Matter earrings. And you see me wear her other earrings, like minding my Black-owned business. So I wear a lot of her earrings. She's a young lady that is in the North Carolina area. She has the Accessorize Shop is the name of her shop. And her name is slipping my mind right now. I don't know why. Miss Keisha, that's her name. Keisha is her name. I'm going to put her link in my description so that you can support her, the Accessorize Shop. She has earrings, she has a few necklaces, a few rings, and a few other things that you can get for your children. Excuse me, y'all. But she mostly specializes in earrings. So I want to encourage you to support her. She is a Black-owned business. She's a Black woman with her small business. So I encourage you to support her. I encourage you to support Layla Cool Pops, and I encourage you to support my cousin Mika with her t-shirt business. All right. So I think that's all I want to say tonight. It's coming down like it's pouring like right now, like it's coming down. We're supposed to have some thunderstorms. So I charged up all of my electronic devices just in case my electricity goes out. I have been praying like, Lord, I pray that my electricity, remains on. But if it doesn't, I'm prepared for that. So y'all pray for me, pray for your family or friends and the people of North Carolina that should be experiencing, or at least I ain't gonna say we should be, but it's been predicted that we're gonna experience some severe weather. So just pray for us here in North Carolina. Also continue to pray for the people in Texas. I forgot to mention them last month while they were going through some really horrible winter weather, and were without electricity. And I remember, I contacted my brother who's currently in Texas, and just to make sure that he was okay. And I continue to pray for the people of Texas. I'm not quite sure if they've recovered yet. Some of the electricity bills in Texas, some of their bills went up to the thousands of dollars, and I'm hoping that those families do not have to pay that bill. Again, I haven't done any research on it, but if they are having to pay that bill, I hope that the electric company there is giving them time to do it. It would be crazy for them to have to pay for such a bill due to acts of God. Like, there's nothing we can do about the weather because we don't control it. But I'm continue to pray for the people in Texas, continue to pray for the people around this world, around this country. As I said in the broadcast earlier, there is nobody on the face of this earth that can do without, like, none of us can do without prayer. Everybody on the face of the earth needs prayer, from the baby that was just born to the oldest person alive. We all need prayer. So let's pray for one another. Let's be kind to one another. Let's respect one another. And most importantly, y'all, let's show some love one to another. Amen. Amen. So I encourage you to join me next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. for the 2021 book study. We will be reading excerpts from my second published romance novel entitled Our Arranged Marriage. Y'all, that Our Arranged Marriage is so good. Like, I love all my books for different reasons, but it is so good. And I'm going to read a couple of portions of the chapters within Our Arranged Marriage. And I'm hoping that you're able to purchase it from our website at determinedpublishing.com. You will not regret purchasing Our Arranged Marriage. It features Thomas and Grace, and they are a mess, y'all. They are a mess. And then when you add Miss Sadie, I have a sister that we call Sadie Mae. And so that character is a tribute to her. And so Miss Sadie is in Our Arranged Marriage, and Mr. Oh gosh, I forgot the other gentleman's name. I haven't read. I need to go back and read it, right? So I'm ready for next week. But I love Miss Sadie so much because she is hilarious. Like Miss Sadie got it going on. I really love her. She's an older Black woman within the story, and so those characters will be introduced next week, and y'all can tell my sister I wrote a character. I never told her that like character was kind of dedicated towards her, but if she listens to the broadcast, she'll know, and you'll be able to hear a little bit about Miss Sadie's past. I think I love her just as much as I love the main characters, Thomas and Grace. Um, but again, we'll read about them next week. Oh yes, some of their electricity is based on the weather. Yes, that's why I'm like, there's nothing that we can do about acts of God. Like, weather is nothing that we can control. Weather can be predicted by our meteorologists, but God has a final say about what weather is going to happen where. And so prayerfully, those families did not have to pay those electric bills. Like, I think it would be ridiculous to ask somebody to pay, like, one person's bill, y'all, was like over $9,000. Like, her electricity bill was over $9,000. Like, who pays $9,000 for an electric bill except for like maybe a football stadium, or a building like maybe an Amazon or like a T-Mobile building? Like, who, like, even then I can't see them paying a $9,000 bill unless it's $9,000 for the year. So like a house having a $9,000 electric bill, like, I'm praying that those families did not have to pay those high bills, and that family in particular. She was a young woman. She had presented her bill to the news, something like troubleshoot. Like, we have like a troubleshoot type of a person who um, takes issues that families are dealing with, like if there's home repairs, but the company who's supposed to do the home repairs, they don't do it correctly. You can take it to like the troubleshooter, and they'll do the research for you. So if like something is going on within your home, or repairs or whatever, or even with medical bills, because our troubleshooter here has worked with people with their medical bills. Like, if something is awry, the troubleshooter will do some research and try to help resolve that situation. So I'm hoping, like, maybe in Texas they have something like a troubleshooter who can help them navigate that bill with the electric company, so they won't have to pay it. Hopefully, prayerfully. So yeah, so let me just look at the chat. Oh, good. My mom said they negotiate them with the mini electric company. And do you know what? I was reading about the electric grid in Texas needs to be updated. So I don't have a lot of research about that, but I was just reading just a little snippet about, like, why did this storm take out Texas as badly as it did, and they need to upgrade their electric grid. Like, I don't know what year, like what was the last year that it was updated, like if it was the 40s or 50s or 60s or whatever, but there's some updating that needs to happen there. So hopefully, I'll pray that the decision makers in Texas will decide to upgrade their electric grid. So hopefully this won't happen again to their citizens. A lot of them had to boil their water because the water was unsafe to drink. There were organizations that were giving out bottled water to these families, but they went through a horrible time during that particular winter storm. So like I said, I haven't researched. I'm hoping that they have recovered, and if not fully, that they will continue to, successfully recover, so that so that the families there will be okay. Yeah. All right, y'all. So that's all I have to say. Actually, the rain has stopped, y'all. I don't know. I really don't think it's going to be bad here, but I'm going to go ahead and get off just in case there is an increase. I haven't seen any lightning. I only heard a couple of rolls of thunder. And so now it's just like drizzling just a little bit. So I'm praying that the Lord will stay the thunderstorms. That's a tongue twister. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you joining Sip and Say with Stephanie. Who knows what I'm going to talk about next week? I hadn't planned for Sip and Say to be about news stories as much as it was just me talking, right? But I really like sharing what's going on in the world and having conversations about that because, you know, maybe we don't have anyone at home or in our network to talk these things through with, or maybe I can give you a different perspective than maybe your family member or your friend. So it's good just to have conversations about what's going on in the world. And again, I'm sharing my heart about things anyway, and prayerfully giving us some encouragement as we all navigate the issues of life. Oh, my Lord. But again, thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 6:30 with our 2021 book study. Good night. Take care. God bless you.